Imagine the crunch of snow underfoot, the hush of a winter's night, the stars glinting above. Welcome to winter camping, an adventure unlike any other. There's a certain magic to the winter wilderness, an almost palpable sense of wonder that fills the air and seeps into your very bones. The world seems to stand still, blanketed in a pristine layer of white, and in that moment you are part of something truly extraordinary. Winter camping is not just about braving the cold, it's about embracing it, about immersing oneself in the stark beauty of nature at its most serene. It's about the thrill of stepping out of your comfort zone and into a world that's as challenging as it is rewarding. It's about the satisfaction of building a warm, cozy shelter in the midst of a snow-covered landscape, and the unparalleled peace that comes with falling asleep beneath a sky full of stars, secure in the knowledge that you can withstand the elements. But let's not forget, winter camping is also about survival. It's about understanding the unique dynamics of the winter wilderness, about respecting the power of nature and knowing how to navigate its challenges. It's about learning to read the snow, to understand its many forms and what they mean for your safety and comfort. Snow, you see, is not just a pretty backdrop. It's a tool, a resource, a potential ally. It can protect you from the harsh winter winds, insulate your shelter, and even provide a source of hydration. But it can also be unpredictable, shifting and settling, creating hazards where none existed before. That's why a proper understanding of snow and its characteristics is crucial for any winter camper. And then there's the shelter. The cornerstone of any winter camping adventure. Your shelter will be your haven, your refuge, your fortress against the cold. Its construction will test your skills, your patience, your resourcefulness, but the rewards are worth every drop of sweat, every moment of toil. But the key to enjoying this unique experience and staying safe, a well-built snow shelter. Intrigued? Keep watching. So you're ready to brave the winter wilderness, the first order of business, building your snow shelter. Now let's clear something up right off the bat. Building a snow shelter is not just about piling up a mound of snow and digging a hole in it. It's an art, a science, and a survival skill all rolled into one. First things first, location, location, location. You'll want to find a spot that's sheltered from the wind, yet visible enough so that you won't get buried in a snowfall. Look for a place where the snow is at least a few feet deep and free of ice. The snow should be dry and powdery, not wet and slushy. This is paramount for insulation and structural integrity. Now onto the construction. Start by compacting the snow in your chosen area. You can do this by walking or stomping around on it. The compacted snow is easier to shape and holds together better. Once you've got your area compacted, it's time to start building up your shelter. You'll want to pile the snow up into a dome shape, around 7 feet in diameter. This shape is not only structurally sound, but it also helps to distribute the heat evenly within the shelter. Keep piling until the mound is about 4 feet high, then let it sit for about an hour. This waiting period allows the snow crystals to bond together, making the structure stronger. Next, it's time to start digging. Begin at the base of the mound and work your way up. The entrance should be small, just large enough for you to crawl through. This helps to keep the heat in and the cold air out. As you dig, you'll want to angle upward slightly. This creates a cold sink, where the cold air can settle away from the sleeping area. Now, for the sleeping platform. It should be higher than the entrance to keep you off the cold ground. Make sure it's flat and comfortable. This is where you'll be spending your nights after all. The final touch? Ventilation. Punch a few small holes near the top of the dome to let fresh air in. Just be careful not to make them too big, or you'll let all the heat out. And there you have it, your very own snow shelter. It's cozy, it's warm, and it's a lifesaver in the harsh winter wilderness. But remember, building a snow shelter is a skill that takes time to master. Don't expect to get it perfect on your first try. It's all about trial and error, learning from your mistakes, and constantly improving. So go out there and practice. Get your hands cold, your feet wet, and your spirits high. Embrace the challenge, harness the elements, and become one with nature. Remember, patience and practice are key. Your life could depend on it. All right, your snow shelter is up. Now, how do you live in it? Living in a snow shelter is like a masterclass in resourcefulness and adaptability. First, let's talk about maintaining the integrity of the shelter. Snow is a living, breathing substance, constantly changing with temperature and humidity. So, Keep an eye on the walls for any signs of melting or collapsing and reinforce them as needed. Now, on to heating. It's important to strike a balance here. Too much heat and your shelter starts to melt, too little and you risk hypothermia. A small, well-controlled fire can do the trick. But remember, fire needs oxygen, so ventilation is key. Dig a small air hole in the roof of your shelter away from the sleeping area to allow for adequate airflow. And speaking of sleeping, let's discuss arrangements. Your bed should be elevated from the ground to minimize contact with the cold snow. Use branches, leaves, or even your backpack as insulation. And don't forget your sleeping bag. Go for a 4-season one, rated for extreme cold. Safety is paramount when living in a snow shelter. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a real danger if your fire is not well ventilated, so keep that air hole open and clear of snow, and be mindful of the risk of the shelter collapsing. Regularly checking the structure and making necessary reinforcements can help mitigate this risk. Remember to stay hydrated and keep your energy levels up. Snow can be melted for drinking water, but be sure to filter or boil it to kill any bacteria. And high-calorie, easy-to-digest foods are your best bet for sustenance. Living in a snow shelter is a unique experience. It's a testament to human resilience and adaptability. It's about learning to not just endure, but to embrace the challenges of the wild. It's about finding comfort in the uncomfortable, warmth in the cold, and peace amidst the howling winds. Living in a snow shelter isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving in the heart of winter. Now that you know the ins and outs of snow shelters, what else can ensure a successful winter camping trip? Well, let's dive into some additional tips that can make your winter camping experience not just bearable, but downright enjoyable. First and foremost, let's talk clothing. Dressing appropriately for the cold is a science in itself. You'll want to consider a 3-layer system: a base layer to wick sweat away from your skin, a middle layer to trap your body heat, and an outer layer to protect you from the elements. And remember, it's always better to overpack than to underpack when it comes to clothing options. Next, let's talk sustenance, food and water. Hydration is just as important in the cold as it is in the heat. Carry an insulated water bottle to prevent your water from freezing. As for food, consider high-calorie, easy-to-cook meals that can provide you with the energy you need to stay warm. Now, navigating in a winter wonderland can be a challenge. Snow can obscure landmarks and make trails difficult to follow. It's a good idea to learn how to use a compass and a map, and don't rely solely on electronic devices. Batteries have a nasty habit of dying quickly in the cold. Keeping a positive attitude is also key to a successful winter camping trip. Yes, it's going to be cold. Yes, there might be challenges. But remember, you're out there to experience the beauty of nature in a way that few people get to see. A few more quick tips. Keep a small, lightweight shovel handy for digging out snow shelters or latrines. Keep your gear dry at all costs. Wet gear can lead to hypothermia. And finally, always let someone know where you're going and when you plan to return. Remember, preparation and knowledge are your best allies against the winter elements. With these tips in mind, you're well on your way to a successful and safe winter camping adventure. Winter camping isn't for the faint of heart, but with the right skills, it can be an unforgettable experience. As we've journeyed together through the frosty landscape, we've learned that a well-crafted snow shelter is your best friend in the unforgiving winter wilderness. It's your fortress against the icy winds, your cozy nook in the midst of snowfall, and your haven when the temperatures take a dive. Remember, the art of building a snow shelter is a delicate balance of creativity and practicality. It's about understanding the snow, listening to the wind, and respecting the cold. It's about transforming these elements from adversaries into allies. The thrill of winter camping, the satisfaction of constructing your own shelter, the simple joy of life in a snow shelter. These are experiences that will not only test your mettle, but also enrich your spirit. So, are you ready to conquer the winter wilderness? With your new knowledge of snow